Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Friday, February 3, 2023, and giving you our team picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comments section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comments section below. Detroit Pistons vs Charlotte Hornets. The Friday NBA schedule will get underway with a matchup between the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons from Little Caesars Arena. This will be the second of a back-to-back on the road for Charlotte, who was outscored by 11 points during the third quarter of last night's 114-98 loss against Chicago. The Hornets, 15-38, missed 28 of 35 from the three-point line and allowed the Bulls to shoot 52% from the field. Both teams have been turnstiles on the defensive end of the floor this season. The Hornets are playing the second game of a back-to-back set here. They've been brutal on the road this season, and they haven't had much in the way of success in back-to-backs this year. Detroit has their own issues as injuries have taken a toll on them this season, as will the stress of the travel issues that led to the postponement of Wednesday's contest. With that said, the Pistons do have a rest advantage going for them and they are at home. Given how poor the Hornets have looked as the visiting team this season, you have to give the slight edge to Detroit in this contest. Washington Wizards vs Portland Trail Blazers. In Friday night NBA action, the Portland Trail Blazers will invade the nation's capital to face the Washington Wizards. The Trail Blazers, 25-26, have won consecutive games and trail New Orleans by a half game for 10th place in the Western Conference standings. On Wednesday, Portland outscored Memphis by 16 points during the fourth quarter to rally for a 122-112 road victory. Washington is not a winning basketball team in the eyes of some, but a few have likely changed their minds about the Wizards after their recent stretch of success. There is talent on this team, and as long as they believe it, winning isn't some unattainable fantasy. The Wizards will win this game at home and cover against a Portland team that's been playing well, but has also been inconsistent. Washington boasts the best field goal percentage at the rim this season, 67.5%, and is facing a Portland team that's just 15th in rim defense and will be without its big man Nurkic on Friday. That doesn't bode well for the Blazers on the road. I'll take the Wizards in this interconference clash in DC. Indiana Pacers vs Sacramento Kings. In Friday night NBA action, the Sacramento Kings will travel to Gainbridge Fieldhouse to take on the Indiana Pacers. The Kings, 29-21, have won 7 of their last 10 games and are currently in third place in the Western Conference standings. On Wednesday, Sacramento forced 18 turnovers and pulled away late to earn a 119-109 road victory against San Antonio. The Kings are 7-3 in their last 10 games and sit atop the Pacific Division. They come in with the 9th best 3PT shooting in the NBA and will exploit a Pacers team that is 28th in 3PT defense and playing the second night of a back-to-back. The Pacers are 0-3 in the second game of their last 3 back-to-back outings. The availability of Haliburton will also be critical for the Pacers against a Kings team that scores at the highest rate in the NBA. Look for the Kings to roll over the leg-weary Pacers on the road. Our team pick is Sacramento -3 points. Boston Celtics vs Phoenix Suns. NBA TV will feature a Friday night clash between the Phoenix Suns and the Boston Celtics from TD Garden. The Suns, 27-26, have dropped 17 of their first 25 road games and are currently locked in a 3-way tie for 7th place in the Western Conference standings. On Wednesday, Phoenix trailed by 19 points at halftime during an ugly 132-100 home loss versus Atlanta. I might be interested in backing Phoenix once Booker returns next week, but I am going to stay away from the Suns on Friday night. They are coming off one of their worst performances of the season, getting blown out by Atlanta in a game where they never competed. Phoenix is now having to go on the road for just the second time in the last 2 weeks to face a Boston team that is coming off a spectacular showing. The Celtics had everything working in their win over the Nets, and they are 9-1 in their last 10 home games. Phoenix simply does not have the firepower necessary to hang with Boston right now. Our team pick is Boston -10. Houston Rockets vs Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors look to snap a 2-game losing streak with a victory on Friday when visiting the Houston Rockets. Toronto is 23-30 and last in the Atlantic Division, 14 1/2 games behind the first-place Boston Celtics. Toronto was defeated by the Utah Jazz 131-128 on Wednesday night, and the Raptors have dropped 3 of the last 4. The Rockets have managed to win consecutive games without their leading scorers, giving them good momentum coming into this game. This is just the third time this season that Houston has gone into a game with a 2-game winning streak, and I expect their recent play to have the struggling Raptors locked in. Although the Raptors are currently outside of playoff position, the franchise's expectations are for them to be there. I expect to see the Rockets run out of steam here and for all-star snub Pascal Siakam to lead Toronto to a convincing win. Our team pick is Toronto Raptors -6 points. Minnesota Timberwolves vs Orlando Magic. I am going to ride with the Timberwolves at home, and I am going to lay the points, -5.5. They are the better offensive team in this matchup, and I see them getting enough stops to slowly pull away throughout this game. The Magic have continued to struggle this season, as they are only scoring the 27th most points per game, and they have struggled to shoot from the outside. Minnesota is holding their opponents to the 6th lowest shooting percentage from the floor, and they have the 14th lowest adjusted defensive rating. The Magic won't be able to consistently make shots against them, as they will continue to slide in the wrong direction. I also see Minnesota consistently scoring throughout this game, as they are scoring the 10th most points per game, and they have the 4th highest team shooting percentage. They will continue to attack the paint, and they will score enough points to cover this spread. Pick the Minnesota Timberwolves and lay the points, -5.5. San Antonio Spurs vs Philadelphia 76ers. The Philadelphia 76ers look for their second consecutive victory on Friday when visiting the San Antonio Spurs. Philadelphia is 33-17 and second in the Atlantic Division, 3 games behind the first-place Boston Celtics. Philadelphia defeated the Orlando Magic 105-94 on Wednesday. The leading scorer for Philadelphia was Joel Embiid with 28 points. Philadelphia has won 8 of its last 9. I know this spread is massive, but I am going to take the 76ers, -10.5, on the road. The Spurs are 1-9 in their last 10 games, and they are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They won't be able to stop the Sixers, as Philadelphia will slowly pull away throughout this game. The Spurs are currently allowing the most points per game, and they have the highest adjusted defensive rating. Philadelphia will be able to score from anywhere on the floor, as they are averaging the 13th most points per game, and they have the 3rd highest 3-point shooting percentage. Philadelphia also has the 10th highest adjusted offensive rating, and they are 8-2 in their last 10 games played. Now, the Spurs won't be able to consistently score either, as the 76ers have the 7th lowest adjusted defensive rating, and they are holding their opponents to the 4th least amount of points per game. They will contest shots near the rim and on the outside, as the Spurs won't score enough points to cover this spread. Pick the Philadelphia 76ers and lay the points, -10.5.